This was Gervonta Davis caught in a shocking altercation with his ex-girlfriend, but he's not alone. From Mayweather getting physical with his wife to Saunders demonstrating how to hit women, these 10 boxing legends went too far with women. The craziest of them all will definitely leave you jaw-dropped. Mike Tyson. When we begin to discuss the intersection of boxing greatness and troubling behavior toward women, there is perhaps no figure more prominent, more controversial, and more thoroughly documented than the one and only Mike Tyson. The man who became the youngest heavyweight champion in the entire history of the sport at just 20 years old has spent decades navigating a tumultuous relationship with the public, with the law, and with the women in his life. His story is one that blends on-camera aggression, legal convictions that sent shockwaves through the sporting world, and a pattern of behavior that many critics argue has been conveniently swept under the rug in the interest of his rehabilitation narrative. The very first time the American public got a glimpse into the darker side of Mike Tyson's personal life came during a now infamous 1988 television interview with Barbara Walters. Sitting beside his then-wife, actress Robin Givens, the world watched as Givens described her life with Tyson as pure hell, accusing him of physical abuse, including hitting her while she held their child. Tyson sat there, appearing stoic, seemingly unaffected by the devastating accusations being leveled against him on national television. The couple would divorce amid a storm of mutual accusations, and Tyson would later admit in his own autobiography to hitting Givens during cocaine-fueled rages. This set a pattern that would follow Tyson throughout his career. Accusations from multiple ex-partners of battery, including alleged slaps involving supermodel Naomi Campbell in 1989, and numerous other women who described him as controlling and violent. Of course, the most notorious scandal in Mike Tyson's entire career, the one that would send him to prison and forever alter the public's perception of him, was his 1992 conviction for 18-year-old Desiree Washington, a beauty pageant contestant in an Indianapolis hotel room. While the act itself was not captured on camera, the trial was heavily televised, and Tyson would serve 3 years in prison for his crime. But perhaps the most telling evidence of Tyson's attitude toward women came during his on-camera outbursts at press conferences. In 2002, before his highly anticipated fight with Lennox Lewis, the cameras captured a moment that would become legendary for all the wrong reasons.
Lewis.
During that same period, Tyson told a female reporter, "I normally don't do interviews with women unless I fornicate with them," sparking immediate outrage for its blatant misogyny. His 2024 Netflix fight with Jake Paul reignited debates about his vicious history being swept under the rug. If you think Mike Tyson's history with women is disturbing, wait until you hear about the next boxer on our list, a man who has been convicted multiple times for domestic violence, yet continues to deny everything despite his own children providing detailed descriptions of the abuse to police. Floyd Mayweather Jr. Mayweather has long positioned himself as the greatest boxer of his generation and perhaps of all time. However, behind the flashy lifestyle, the mountains of cash, and the undefeated record lies a deeply troubling history that includes 7 documented incidents involving 5 different women, including battery and harassment, incidents that Mayweather has repeatedly minimized, deflected, and outright denied in numerous on-camera interviews. The documentation of Mayweather's violence against women stretches back more than 2 decades. In 2002, he pleaded guilty to domestic violence against Melissa Brim, the mother of his daughter, after punching her in a mall parking lot. He received a suspended sentence. Between 2003 and 2005, he faced charges for assaulting 2 women in a Las Vegas nightclub, ultimately pleading no contest to misdemeanor battery. But perhaps the most horrific incident involved Josie Harris, the mother of 3 of his children, who accused him of multiple attacks over the years. In 2010, Mayweather broke into her home, punched her repeatedly, and dragged her by the hair, all in front of their children. For this attack, Mayweather served just 2 months in jail in 2012. What makes Mayweather's case particularly egregious is his behavior when confronted about these incidents on camera. In a now infamous 2014 interview with CNN's Rachel Nichols, Mayweather was directly confronted with the facts of his abuse. Watch how he responds to being presented with irrefutable evidence.
The mother of your 3 children did show some bruising, a concussion when she went to the hospital. It was your own kids who called the police, gave them a detailed description of the abuse. There's been documentation.
Once again, no pictures, just hearsay and allegations. and I signed a plea bargain. So, once again, not true.
The audacity of that response is absolutely staggering. His own children called the police. His own children gave detailed descriptions of watching their father beat their mother. There was documented medical evidence of bruising and a concussion. And yet, Mayweather sits there on camera, dismissing it all as mere allegations because he signed a plea bargain. The backlash to this interview was so severe that both Rachel Nichols and ESPN's Michelle Beadle were reportedly banned from Mayweather's 2015 fight with Pacquiao for criticizing his abuse record. Josie Harris, who died in 2020 from an overdose, had previously detailed in a 2014 interview being a battered woman trapped in a dysfunctional relationship with one of the richest athletes in the world. As shocking as Mayweather's denials are, our next boxer took things even further. His assault on a woman wasn't just alleged, it was captured on cell phone video for the entire world to see. Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Tank. Davis has established himself as one of the most exciting and dangerous fighters in modern boxing, with knockout power that has made him a pay-per-view star and a protege of the previously mentioned Floyd Mayweather Jr. However, what has also followed Davis throughout his career is a disturbing pattern of violence against women, a pattern that, unlike many other cases, has been captured multiple times on video, leaving absolutely no room for denial or deflection. The most shocking incident occurred in February 2020 at a charity basketball event in Miami. Cell phone footage captured the horrifying moment when Davis grabbed his ex-girlfriend Andretta Smothers, the mother of his child, by the throat and physically dragged her from her seat. The footage went viral immediately, spreading across social media platforms and making national news headlines. There was no ambiguity, no he said she said, no room for interpretation. The video showed exactly what happened. Davis was charged with simple battery domestic violence, but the charges were eventually dropped after Smothers recanted her statement. Davis, incredibly, tried to dismiss the entire violent episode as mere horseplay. Yes, you heard that correctly. Grabbing a woman by the throat and dragging her from her seat at a public event was characterized by Davis as nothing more than playful behavior between partners. But the 2020 incident was far from an isolated event. In December 2022, Davis was arrested again in Florida for battery causing bodily harm after allegedly slapping another woman, the mother of yet another of his children, with a closed hand, leaving her with a lip abrasion. He posted bail quickly, and the case proceeded through the courts. By January 2026, the situation had escalated dramatically. An arrest warrant was issued for an October 2025 incident at a Miami strip club, where surveillance video allegedly showed Davis assaulting, falsely imprisoning, and attempting to kidnap his ex-girlfriend. Police released the footage during a press conference, and the WBA responded by stripping Davis of his lightweight title in January 2026. While Gervonta Davis's violence was captured accidentally by bystanders, our next boxer actually recorded himself explaining how to hit women and then posted it to social media. Billy Joe Saunders. In the annals of truly inexplicable decisions made by professional athletes, former super middleweight champion Billy Joe Saunders managed to create a moment so bewildering, so tone-deaf, and so genuinely harmful that it defies any reasonable explanation. During the COVID-19 lockdown in 2020, a period when domestic violence reports were skyrocketing around the world as people were trapped in their homes with abusive partners, Saunders decided it would be a good idea to record himself using a punching bag to demonstrate how to physically assault a female partner during an argument. The self-recorded video showed Saunders standing in front of a punching bag, offering what he apparently believed was humorous advice on how to hit a woman if she argues with you during quarantine. He suggested using a fake-out punch followed by a real strike, demonstrating the technique on the bag. Watch this absolute disgrace of a video.
So as she comes in, she's just about to say something, all of a sudden you explode. BAM! On the chin.
The video went viral almost immediately, drawing widespread condemnation from domestic violence advocates, fellow boxers, and the general public. The timing could not have been worse. Domestic violence organizations around the world were already warning about the dangers of lockdown conditions for abuse victims, and here was a professional boxer, a man literally trained in the art of hitting people, offering a tutorial on assaulting women. The British Boxing Board of Control responded swiftly, suspending Saunders' boxing license in March 2020, calling the video idiotic and harmful. Saunders attempted damage control, posting an apology on Twitter claiming he would never condone domestic violence and donating £25,000 to domestic violence charities. He also claimed to have received death threats following the backlash. His suspension was eventually lifted in July 2020, but he was fined £15,000 for what officials described as a silly and dangerous video. The incident reportedly cost him a potential lucrative fight with Canelo Alvarez. Saunders tried to frame the entire thing as a joke gone wrong, but domestic violence advocates saw it for what it truly was, a normalization of violence against women by someone with a massive platform. While Saunders' video was about physical violence, our next boxing legend's on-camera controversies revolve around a different kind of harm, public infidelity and objectification that played out in the media spotlight. Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao stands alone in boxing history as the only fighter to ever capture world championships in 8 different weight divisions, an achievement so remarkable that it may never be replicated. The Filipino senator and former presidential candidate has been celebrated not only for his incredible boxing skills, but also for his charitable work and religious devotion. However, behind the image of the devoted family man lies a history of repeated extramarital affairs, public humiliation of his wife, and on-camera moments that reveal a troubling pattern of behavior toward women. Pacquiao has openly admitted to what he describes as a wild past that included smoking, drugs, gambling, and most notably, multiple extramarital affairs. His wife, Jinky Pacquiao, confirmed these infidelities in a heartbreaking 2013 television interview where she tearfully admitted on camera, "Manny cheats on me," marking the first time she had publicly acknowledged what many had suspected for years. The admission came after years of hints and rumors that had plagued their marriage. The most publicized of Pacquiao's affairs involved actress Krista Renillo, a scandal that completely overshadowed his November 2009 victory over Miguel Cotto. The drama began when columnist Ricky Lowe reported seeing Pacquiao on a Hong Kong flight with actress Kay, later identified as Renillo. During his training camp in Baguio, talent manager Lolit Solis alleged multiple sightings of Renillo with the boxer. After his fight, a video on CelebrityNation.tv showed Pacquiao leaving Jimmy Kimmel Live with an unknown woman hiding her face from paparazzi, widely speculated to be Renillo. Photos emerged of Pacquiao dancing with a mysterious woman at his Las Vegas victory party, and it was reported that Renillo and her family had stayed at the Luxor Hotel with Pacquiao's entourage. The media explosion was intense. Filipino entertainment news site Pep.ph reported a big fight between Manny and Jinky. Actress Gina Alajar posted on Facebook, "If I am Jinky Pacquiao, I will not give up Manny. Krista Renillo is not at all worth it," a pointed comment referencing her own past separation allegedly involving Renillo's father. Blogs covering the scandal garnered over 41,000 hits, with readers labeling Renillo a gold digger. Meanwhile, Jinky was captured on camera during a Thanksgiving mass, crying as the priest's homily touched on hurting loved ones, turning away from her husband's attempts to console her. Adding to the pattern of objectifying behavior, during a 2013 press conference face-off with Brandon Rios, Pacquiao was captured on camera in a moment that compilation videos have labeled one of boxing's most awkward moments. Instead of facing off with his opponent, Pacquiao turned to stare at ring girl Jen Mateo, facing off with her instead, a moment many saw as disrespectful and objectifying. While Pacquiao's controversies centered on infidelity and disrespect, our next fighter's history includes an actual assault conviction against his girlfriend, plus a recent on-camera rejection that went viral. Derek Chisora. British heavyweight contender Derek Chisora has built a reputation as one of the most entertaining and unpredictable figures in boxing. A man known for kissing opponents at weigh-ins, throwing tables at press conferences, and engaging in backstage brawls that have resulted in multiple suspensions. However, behind the chaotic public persona lies a far more serious history, including a conviction for assaulting his girlfriend that painted a disturbing picture of violent behavior toward women. In 2010, Chisora was found guilty of assaulting his then-girlfriend, 24-year-old Yalda Contracci, after discovering text messages from another man on her phone while she was in the bathroom. The details of the attack were deeply disturbing. Chisora grabbed her arms, threw her onto the bed, accused her of cheating, hit her face, turned her over, and repeatedly slapped her buttocks in what the judge described as a humiliating attack. At the City of Westminster Magistrates Court, District Judge Quentin Purdy called the assault disgraceful and ugly, specifically noting Chisora's use of violence despite his considerable size. The fighter stands 6 feet 4 inches tall. What made the conviction even more concerning was Chisora's existing criminal history, which included prior convictions for assault, public order offenses, assaulting a police officer, and weapon possession. The judge warned that Chisora had a violence problem that could end his boxing career if not addressed. He received a 12-week suspended sentence for 2 years, was ordered to pay £1,500 in compensation and £500 in costs, and was required to complete 150 hours of community service. Contracci later described being beaten black and blue by the heavyweight, and rival Dillian White would later brand him a woman beater in interviews leading up to their fights. Fast forward to 2025, and Chisora once again found himself in the spotlight for an uncomfortable on-camera moment involving a woman. At a public event, Chisora was filmed approaching female boxer Skye Nicholson and asking her out for dinner, only to be firmly rejected with the response, "Don't come at me like that." The exchange went viral, with many viewers noting the awkward and pushy nature of the approach, particularly given Chisora's documented history of violence against women. Chisora's assault conviction was serious, but our next boxing legend's scandals involve even darker elements: drug-fueled photos, multi-million-dollar payoffs, and assault allegations spanning decades. Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya earned the nickname the Golden Boy for his Olympic gold medal, his movie star good looks, and his ability to transcend boxing and become a mainstream celebrity. For years, De La Hoya cultivated an image of clean-cut success, building a promotional empire and positioning himself as one of the sport's most marketable figures. However, behind that polished exterior lay a dark side involving drug abuse, childhood trauma, and scandals with women that nearly destroyed his life and career. The most explosive scandal came in 2007, when photographs leaked showing De La Hoya in fishnets, a wig, a tutu, high heels, a bra, and pink underwear. Images taken during cocaine and alcohol binges with a Russian dancer named Milana Dravnal. Initially, De La Hoya denied the authenticity of the photos, paying forensic experts to claim they were fakes and settling with Dravnal out of court after she filed a lawsuit. His handlers reportedly paid millions, some estimates suggest up to $19 or $20 million that went unaccounted for, to suppress the images, including dramatic negotiations with alleged Russian mob elements. It wasn't until 2011 that De La Hoya finally admitted in a Univision interview that the photos were real, saying he was finally at peace with the truth. He revealed that he had contemplated suicide over the humiliation, fearing the photos would completely destroy his carefully crafted image. In a 2023 HBO documentary called The Golden Boy, De La Hoya opened up further, tying the photos to childhood trauma, specifically his mother dressing him in girls' clothes when he was 5 or 6 years old because she had wanted a daughter. He described the revelation at age 50 as liberating. But the lingerie photos were far from De La Hoya's only controversy involving women. Over the years, he has faced a 1998 civil rape lawsuit that was settled in 2001, a 1999 rape accusation that resulted in no charges, and a 2022 sexual assault lawsuit that he denied. He has openly admitted to womanizing and being an absentee father to his 6 children by different women. Perhaps most disturbing, De La Hoya revealed that his first sexual experience at age 13 was actually rape by a woman over 35 years old, trauma that he says led to emotional withdrawal. De La Hoya's scandals were largely about suppression and denial, but our next boxing legend actually admitted under oath to physically abusing his wife, and later wrote about it in his own autobiography. Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard is widely considered one of the greatest welterweight boxers in the history of the sport, a fighter whose speed, skill, and charisma made him one of the most beloved athletes of the 1980s. His rivalry with Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns, and Marvin Hagler produced some of the most memorable fights ever witnessed. However, behind the megawatt smile and the Olympic gold medal lay a deeply troubled personal life marked by drug addiction, alcohol abuse, and, as Leonard himself would later admit under oath and in his own autobiography, domestic violence against his first wife, Juanita. The truth about Leonard's behavior came to light during his 1990 divorce proceedings, where he confirmed under oath that he had physically abused Juanita, including shoving her, pushing her, hitting her head with his ring hard enough to cause a cut, and striking her multiple times while holding their infant child. He attributed the violence to alcohol and the frustrations of career limbo between retirements, though he denied that his drug use was the direct cause of the abuse. Juanita's testimony painted an even more horrifying picture. She described 2 years of abuse between 1986 and 1987, including being pulled from bed, thrown around their home, and harassed in front of their children during Leonard's cocaine highs. On one occasion, she had flushed his cocaine down the toilet, which sparked violent confrontations. Both admitted to occasional cocaine use, but Juanita placed the blame for the violence squarely on her husband's substance abuse. Most chillingly, she testified that Leonard had made threats including suicide attempts with both a gun and pills, and on one occasion, threatened to pour kerosene on their home and burn it down if she tried to leave him. In his 2011 autobiography, The Big Fight, Leonard went into even greater detail about his rage, his addiction, and his abuse of Juanita. He also revealed that he himself had been sexually abused as a child by a boxing coach, trauma that he said contributed to his struggles with substance abuse and relationships. The book's revelations led to widespread media coverage, though critics noted that much of the reporting framed the story primarily as a drug story, marginalizing the domestic violence aspect. Juanita was reportedly outraged by the public revelations. In 2015, Leonard's son spoke publicly about the family trauma caused by his father's domestic violence and drug use. Sugar Ray Leonard's admissions came after years of denial, but our next boxer's alleged abuse was exposed by his own fiancée, who detailed at least 10 separate incidents of violence in court documents. Deontay Wilder. Deontay the Bronze Bomber. Wilder built his reputation as one of the most devastating punchers in heavyweight boxing history, with 41 of his 43 career wins coming by knockout. The former WBC heavyweight champion was celebrated for his raw power and his underdog story, a man who took up boxing to provide for his daughter, who was born with spina bifida. However, that inspirational narrative came crashing down in 2024 when his own fiancée, Telly Swift, filed for a restraining order and detailed a horrifying pattern of alleged domestic violence. According to court documents reported by TMZ and multiple news outlets, Swift accused Wilder of assaulting her at least 10 times since their relationship began in 2015. The allegations included 5 separate choking incidents, during which Swift claimed she nearly blacked out and was left with bruises, as well as 5 other physical attacks. One particularly disturbing incident allegedly occurred in 2020 when Wilder choked Swift in front of their young daughter. The allegations extended beyond Swift to include Wilder's treatment of her son, Karen. Swift claimed that Wilder had slammed the boy's head and pushed his chest during confrontations. She also detailed an incident in 2017 when, while pregnant, Wilder allegedly hid her car keys to prevent her from leaving. According to Swift, the abuse escalated following Wilder's consecutive losses to Tyson Fury in 2020 and 2021, and his loss to Joseph Parker in 2023, with his emotional instability increasing alongside threats and demands for sex. She claimed that Wilder had refused all requests to seek therapy for his behavior. Swift was granted a temporary restraining order on May 30, 2024, which barred Wilder from coming within 100 yards of her and required him to surrender his firearms. Court documents indicated he owned 12 guns, including assault rifles. Swift stated that she had endured the alleged abuse for years to avoid worsening Wilder's mental health, but feared retaliation following his 2024 loss to Zhilei Zhang, especially after discovering photos of him with other women. Adding to the controversy, Wilder's own brother Marcelo's accused him in a 2024 expose of sleeping with his girlfriend and multiple exes. Wilder has also been captured on camera making inappropriate gestures and comments about female host Christina Poncher while mocking promoter Bob Arum in 2021, and weigh-in footage showed him startling ring girl Samantha Kumiko with aggressive shouts, moments deemed uncomfortable by many observers. Wilder has denied the abuse allegations, claiming Swift made false accusations for financial gain. Wilder's case is still developing, but our final boxer rounds out this list with one of the most brazen on-camera demonstrations of how to assault women that boxing has ever seen, and he somehow thought it was funny. Adrien Broner. Multi-division champion Adrien the Problem. Broner earned his nickname for reasons that extend far beyond his boxing abilities. Throughout his career, Broner has cultivated a reputation for controversy, arrogance, and legal troubles that have frequently overshadowed his genuine talent in the ring. However, his most serious offenses involve a disturbing pattern of violence against women, incidents that have been captured on video, prosecuted in court, and resulted in massive financial judgments that Broner has tried desperately to avoid paying. In June 2017, video emerged showing Broner on the Las Vegas Strip, shoving a woman to the ground before turning to punch a man unconscious. The footage was damning, showing a professional boxer using his trained fists on civilians. The incident would eventually result in a staggering $4 million judgment against Broner in 2020, a sum he has repeatedly tried to avoid paying through various legal maneuvers. But the Las Vegas incident was just the beginning. In June 2018, at a Cleveland nightclub, Broner allegedly pinned a woman, a complete stranger, on a couch, forcibly kissed her, and shoved his tongue down her throat. He pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault and unlawful restraint in 2019, but the victim pursued a civil lawsuit that resulted in an $830,000 judgment against Broner, including punitive damages. Later that same year, he was arrested in Atlanta for sexual battery at a shopping mall. What happened next perfectly encapsulates Broner's character. When ordered to pay the $830,000 judgment, Broner claimed poverty, insisting he couldn't afford to pay. However, he then posted a video on Instagram showing himself flaunting stacks of cash, a move so brazenly stupid that it resulted in contempt of court charges and landed him in jail in November 2020. The judge's words were memorable. The jig is up. In 2021, Broner was jailed again for probation violation after refusing to attend court-ordered alcohol treatment. Broner has repeatedly skipped court hearings, earning judicial scorn and arrest warrants. His career has largely stalled, with many critics pointing out that his legal troubles and violent behavior toward women have made him toxic to promoters and networks. Yet despite the video evidence, the court judgments, the jail time, and the widespread condemnation, Broner continues to present himself as a victim of circumstance rather than a repeat offender whose violence has been documented time and time again. If this video has opened your eyes to the darker side of boxing, then click on any of the cards on your screen.